He says, OC Motivator, you'd better talk to my CPA about this then. LOL. As for hoping it pays off, this is the most defensive thing I've ever read in a comment section. I mean, $500,000 a year says it does. I made $40,000 this month from leaving my chair and doing things. How's your channel? Well, I hurt somebody's feelings. I hurt Randy's feelings at Auto Auction Rebuilds, and that was not my intention, but it was a possibility, and I knew that going in. With that said, I've been doing YouTube now for 5-6 years or so as a thing I enjoy doing and turned into a small business, provides a little bit of revenue, and gives me something to do above and beyond and outside of my full-time, very intense career. And I gotta say the worst part about YouTube has been, the trolls and the negative commenters, because any human being with any self-awareness would not enjoy getting roasted in the comments by people and beat up and trashed and maligned. And hell, I've had it happen to me now for a long time. Now, is it true that you get thicker skin? Yes, you do. But is it also true that sometimes you just want to post and ghost and not even go into the comments because you know they're going to have at it with you? Yeah, I got to admit it. Sometimes I do, but I can't help it. I like to engage with those of you that are contributing great information and positivity. And the negativity does help me once in a while, but I got to be careful because it overshadows so much good. When 98% of the likes are positive and the comments are positive, it still sucks once in a while as someone with some introspect and humility to go ahead and take that beating and then not let that beating overshadow everybody else. It just takes some work. And I think we're experiencing that right now because Randy at Auto Auction Rebuilds, who I've been a fan of, not going to lie, I've been watching his channel. I enjoy his videos. I like his personality. I think he's just seems like a good old guy you can sit and have a beer with and hang out and talk about cars. So I've had that affinity for him for a while. I don't have the relationship that TK had with him and the history with him. So I don't know anything about that. I simply know what I've heard and watched. And he posted a video on YouTube to his 500,000 subscribers and then some to everybody else out there who would come across. And he posted 2 shorts explaining what I feel to be insane financial decisions he's been making with his car purchases. Outside of the business rationale and justification, it is illogical. Within the business rationale and justification, it's still illogical. And for that reason, I decided to do a video because it had tied to one of my previous videos where I shared the exact idea with all of you that maybe the Charger was a good vehicle to use to get out of some negative equity from dealer greed in this last few years, where some people were unfortunately dragged into some enormous car debt, and now they are in a despondent situation where they don't know what to do and how to get out of it. And I gave several examples. But in this example with Randy, it was extreme. He posted a video which says, I want you all to know what I did. And then that video found its way to me because I am a subscriber, and it was tied to a video I did, in my opinion. Not that he watched any of my videos and saw that, but he went and did it. And it scared the living hell out of me that anyone out there would listen to his elation and joviality in these shorts about purchasing that car and how the decision was a great decision. He feels like he got a great deal. And you might think that this is a great deal, or maybe do this to yourself. And I wanted to make sure that that does not happen. So we're going to address that in just a second. But first, let me roll that intro. All right, so before I jump into the hurt feelings, I'll show you what he said in case you didn't watch the other video. So let me pop this screen over real quick and play this for you. So this is one of the two shorts.
So I'm happy with it, guys. Yeah, I think I got a good deal. If you guys are wondering like what the terms were, in case I didn't tell you already, get you guys over here. What we ended up doing was a 36-month lease at $1,744. And I know that sounds like a lot, and it is, but I was paying $2,000 a month for my truck. So this is actually less. And in 3 years, I walk away with no debt. None. No debt on this at all. I've got 15,000 miles a year that I can drive with overage is like 50 cents a mile. So you don't want to go over. Again, 36-month lease. And basically the car, without my negative equity, it comes out to about 600 and something, 640, 650 dollars a month. Is it the greatest lease deal out there on one of these? No, probably not. But I want to tell you something else. I've seen lease deals out there for as low as $29 a month with $5,000 down. By the way, I paid $0 down.
All right. We don't need to get into. You can go watch the short. There's a second one on here too that he gets into more detail. So I just discussed that. And I think anyone with, a brain in their skull that isn't completely smooth would agree that what he did was bad, because what he did, and by the way, he did comment on my video and then deleted his comment, and I had written back my response. So, and of course, it wouldn't let me post it because he deleted his comment. But in his comment, ever so brief, he said, I had a six-year loan on that Dodge and an interest rate that was going to cost me $2,000 a month. It cost me $122,000. Well, I did the math on 72 months. It's actually $144,000 he'd pay for that truck. That means, and he did say in his comment, that he was rolling negative equity from a prior car. And I still think that that's pretty insane. So he's now 2 cars deep in negative equity. So the car before the Dodge truck and then the Dodge truck. 2 cars rolling into the Dodge Charger that the second you roll off the lot, it depreciates. Goes into a 3-year lease at $1,744 a month with $40,000 rolling in negative, knowing that car depreciates $10,000 the second you drive off, knowing that it has reliability issues. Let me just do this real quick. We'll go back. Knowing that it has reliability issues, and there's a possibility that car could be a complete lemon, and understanding that the lemon laws are very blurry. I don't know. I'd say not too blurry, but definitely not 20/20 vision here. When it comes to negative equity, that it's rare that you can lemon law a car and get the manufacturer to cover your negative equity. But it's not unheard of. It has been done. And if you do any research and reading, which I have already done, I'll show you in a second, that there is a possibility that had he lemon lawed that red truck, which he did several videos about it being a lemon and a bad truck, and it's for sale right now at David Stanley. If anybody wants to go buy it, I wouldn't. That he could have maybe lemon lawed that thing. But he said in his comment that he deleted rapidly that he couldn't because of the negative equity. So he painted himself into a corner is what happened. But then somebody comments and says he does it for the write-offs for his business expense. And I'll show you that in a second. That's absurd, because taking on crippling debt is not a business strategy unless that debt's used primarily to grow the business. Well, in this case, his justification, it sounds like, is that buying this Charger is going to significantly grow his business. Thing is, you got to keep the investment and the return on that investment. This is something really clear. Day one in business school, anybody can learn that your investment in your business can't far exceed the revenue you will earn, because then you will continually lose money. And taking on debt, which is very expensive, is also risky. And taking on this much negative equity and debt in a potential car that and he said in his comment that he could not lemon law because of the negative equity. He believes he could not. I believe there's slight chances you might be able to. Let's assume he's 100% right. You cannot, very likely is, cannot lemon law out the negative equity. Then he just made the Dodge situation where he was in negative equity and could not lemon law that truck, which he said in his comment he couldn't. and he took that comment down. Now he went and compounded that situation by getting another car that is a more colossal piece of shit and very well-known, well-documented piece of shit. Watch my next video that's coming out. That he is going to have trouble if he has to lemon law that car. He will now have that $40,000 hanging around his neck when he has to lemon law that car. So he's not out of anything. He's got that hanging there. My question is where's all the money you've made? Because you'll see in a comment, he flexed on me how much money he makes. So let's go check out his hurt feelings here and just talk about this. And I'm doing this because I think it's entertaining. I don't know. Some of you love it. Some of you are going to comment, you're riding this guy's coattails. No, I didn't put his name in any of my comments, any of my tags, nothing. This is just for you all that want to watch this because it is entertaining. I think it's entertaining. A little beef on YouTube's kind of cool once in a while. And what the hell? But let's go look at his comment. So he deleted his original comment. And even though I wrote a very verbose but valid response, he had deleted by the time I posted mine. But then somebody wrote, AAR did it for content and taxes. So in my life, I get to hear this all the time. And I hear it from YouTubers, but I also hear it in regular business. It's a tax write-off. It's a tax write-off. Well, I bought a G-Wagon because it's a tax write-off. If you buy a G-Wagon for $350,000 and you make, $200,000, you didn't need, it's kind of overkill. You know what I mean? It's like pissing on a wildfire. I mean, it's the wildfire is going to win. And in this case, the debt on that G-Wagon is going to win over any tax benefits you get because you've got to have the income to need the tax write-off. Well, in this case, he made it clear that he's got it and he's loaded and crushing it on YouTube and everything else. And I don't know whether I believe him or not. I did a little research and it seems like a stretch, but I'm sure he won't mind showing it on YouTube just so that we all know he's an honest guy like I do. And I'm happy to show you all here. So did it for content taxes. Of course, I wrote back and you can go read my comment, but you've got to be kidding me. I have a YouTube channel too, and I do. And I understand how the taxes work. And I'm pretty cautious with this because I pay well over six figures every year in taxes. You better believe that I look for every possible way of mitigating having to pay that much in taxes. Doesn't matter. I still have to pay a massive amount of money despite all the write-offs. And at a certain point, the IRS is not going to say, I'm willing to participate in your bad decisions. They're willing to participate in the investment into your business. But at a certain point, you can't just roll from a purchase, a 6-year purchase, into a lease and then say, oh, I'm writing off this whole lease payment, when a simple audit by the IRS would say, you rolled in negative equity from a purchase, and how much did you depreciate on that last car? So there's some rules that are involved here, and I'm not a tax attorney, and I'm not giving tax advice. But it's a humongous, colossal stretch for somebody just to say this. But I've seen this forever. People always say, "Oh, it's for tax reasons and content." Well, believe me, many YouTubers have crashed and burned. I've had the urge to do it too in investing in their business, like I did with a 2008 Crown Victoria police car, thinking that would do something for my channel. But that investment was about $12,000-$13,000 all in with everything I did to that thing. And I still sold it for $9,000, and I made a few $1,000s of video content, and I had a lot of fun in it. So, but it was not I wouldn't call it a winner, but it was a small risk. What he's doing by rolling that much negative is an issue. And by the way, when people say, well, why do you care what he does, what another man does? He posted online. I didn't. He posted online. So he posted it for us to view and share our opinions. What do you want? Nobody to comment. Everybody says like, comment. Okay, does that mean I can only comment like the nice stuff? I mean, I'm commenting. I'm commenting in this way. So some people get in here and get a little raw with him. And then he called me and TK, the three YouTubers. Couldn't figure out. He's questioning whether we're YouTubers. I don't identify as YouTuber. I like to do YouTube, but I don't think I'm big enough to say I'm a YouTuber. But thanks for putting that in quotes. Couldn't figure out how content works. That's the real joke. Now, TK might be a little more raw with his response to something like this, and I admire his ability to do that. Knowing that this isn't my primary career, I got to throttle myself online with some of my responses. appropriate, right? So here's the deal. We're the joke. That's the real joke. I completely understand how it works, and I completely understand how profit and loss works. And in this case, I can't imagine why, if he's making so much money, he wouldn't just pay off that negative equity 2 cars ago. And I'm going to guess potentially 3 cars ago, because it's a significant amount of negative equity. So he gets on, says that, but where things just really got angry, and I even was trying to be nice in some of my responses, where I even would write at the end, it's like, listen, it's his money, his life. I wish him nothing but the best in his channel and finances. And he shared the info on his videos and clearly wanted us all to know and open himself up to our opinions, since we aren't supposed to have him on the charger. I think this one's fair enough. I mean, I am a YouTuber speaking about another YouTuber, so I think that's maybe falls in his categorization of who should be able to make opinion videos, but I digress. So some people were kind of nasty, and I got into it again, and I just said, explain this a little bit more. I'll let you all go back and read that. And some of you are pretty tough. And then he writes, and this is the one that just, nothing bugs me more than somebody flexing how much money they make. I think that there's always someone out there richer. There's always someone out there that makes more money. And I'm proud of him that he's done good with his channel. I am a follower and a supporter of his channel. That's what's confusing with his anger here. But I write him back some basic financial principles on his logic doesn't make sense with rolling that much negative that many times into a car without mitigating the risk and debt along the way with the amount of money he's making. He says, OC Motivator, you'd better talk to my CPA about this then, LOL. As for hoping it pays off, this is the most defensive thing I've ever read in a comment section. I mean, $500,000 a year says it does. I made $40,000 this month from leaving my chair and doing things. How's your channel? I didn't realize my channel was such a failure. I thought it's kind of where it should be based on the type of content I do and videos I make. And I don't think I'm Stradman. I certainly don't think I'm Randy. I think I'm me. I'm Brad. I do what I do, and I'm good with it. And it's a small business, allows me some tax benefits, but I wouldn't go into debt, my eyeballs, to do that. But this is just the most egomaniac thing in the world. And of course, when somebody flexes their income, my only question is it real? And I hope that it is, because if he's making that kind of money, then forget about everything I said. If you're making $500,000 on going into debt on cars and that's your only expense, God bless you. Do it. I want to show you Social Blade. Social Blade, you can go and you can kind of get a feel for what people are making on YouTube and some analytics on their channels. And this is my channel, and it shows my subscribers last 30 days, views last 30 days. I'm a little channel. I'm tiny. I'm infinitesimal. Is that a word? I mean, I'm just microscopic, especially compared to this guy. So I'll own that one. I have no problem. Look, I'm also 5'9" on a good day. I mean, that's like if I hang upside down, the hang upside down machine, I might squeeze myself into 5'9". So, I'm not trying to be 6 foot, 6'5" or anything. So I'm also not trying to flex against a 500,000 subscriber channel. Good for him. Rock on, Randy. I'm one of them, brother. So $2,500 to $40,000 a year is what it says I'm making. Now, here's the deal. Let me show you. This is actually what I made last year. No problem showing you. A measly, paltry $55,910.92. Made a little money on Amazon and tiny money on Instagram and Facebook. So let's just say all in, I made it to like 60 grand. I think it was like $59,000 on me when I filed my taxes. So I have a car that I would have whether I had a YouTube channel or not. And the Lamborghini, I generally don't use much for content, except on my other channel, which is not even monetized. Just trying to grow it to get monetized, but it's not even monetized. So these expenses are not, do not outweigh this whole thing. Do I use this as a tax little shelter? Yes, because as a small business owner, I write off everything. Hell, if I buy a new camera, which I do, I love them. I love that kind of stuff. Then I'm going to write stuff off. Reason I show you that is show you how off this is. 2,500 to 40,000. I made 55,000. So it's off. Let's say it's off by, I don't know, 10, 15%. But if we go to search auto auction rebuilds, all right, then we end up seeing his channel. Outstanding channel, great metrics. The guy works hard, and good for him. No, nothing about his content I have an issue with. And I can look at his last 30 days, and we can look at his estimated earnings monthly: $790 to $13,000 a month, $8,600 a year to $138 a year. So let's say it's off 15%. That would mean he's probably got some good months where he makes $30,000, $40,000 when he has some videos go big, and then he doesn't. Like all of us, it's a very wild shifting scale. Like this shows big months help make the year, but that just is what it is. But I don't know that he could swing 138,000 to 500,000. I mean, unless Social Blade's just that wrong. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say he makes $500,000 a year. Then he should be using some of that cash to pay some of this cash to avoid getting into so much debt. Because if that car has to go to Lemon, that Charger does, he's going to have to be able to shell out that $40,000 to get out of that thing, no matter how you cut it. So here's the AI breakdown on negative equity on a Lemon Law car. There are scenarios where this attorney has successfully argued and won negative equity reimbursement in some cases. So I would say he should have went down that road with his pickup truck, with the traded in truck. All right, and then just one of the last comments I'll share is, he says, you better tell Hoovie he's doing it wrong. He sells cars for massive losses too. The problem is you're not on my level, but you're definitely not on Hoovie's level, so you don't understand the business. This business, as you said, it's a hobby for you. And I think, I don't know, cut off. Maybe he was covered in sweat and fervently angry and typing so fast that he just stopped and threw his phone. I don't know, but I love it when people say I'm not on their level. I do run a $200 million company. That's not a flex. It's like, I think that if we're talking about who's on whose levels, I do have a pretty decent understanding of business. My YouTube channel is not reflective of my entire scope of understanding and knowledge level. It's unfair to brand me as that being my greatest accomplishment. So, Randy, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I am really sorry I hurt your feelings. Lord knows that was not my initial intention. At this point, I'm hoping you can set aside your differences, maybe do a video, explain, which I did put in one of my comments, explain the financial logic that you're using, because I'm open to learning. I don't know everything. While I think I know a lot, I still learn every single day, and we all can. And if there is some logic behind rolling in tens of thousands of dollars on multiple cars over and over again while still making $500,000 a year, living in Oklahoma, meaning that's like $1 million a year in California, that you should be able to, I mean, houses, I think, in Oklahoma cost as much as cars. So you should have so much extra money left over that paying negative equity and having cash should be no problem to avoid getting in this kind of debt on these cars. But if there's a logical reason for it, I'm willing to learn. Get your CPA on your channel or explain it in detail, and I will literally just like eat crow and acknowledge that you're a bigger genius than I am. You're a smarter guy than the rest of us, and you should just keep rolling massive negative equity. I did my video because I don't want anybody else to do that. People are hurting right now. Repos are at an all-time high. Negative equity is at an all-time high. The quality of cars, well, it's at an all-time low. More Lemon Laws probably now than in years, and I think people should be cautious and probably stick with their existing car. Even if they have a YouTube channel, find another way to do content and to get content. If the risk is the only way to grow your channel is to roll tens of thousands of dollars in negative equity into multiple cars over and over again and not use any cash to mitigate that risk and that expense, and hammer your profit and loss statement as well. So with that, everybody, let me know what you think in the comments below. Feel free to give me some heat. I'm willing to take it because when I do a video, I expect that that's the risk that I take. So with that, please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Next one's going to be good. You're going to laugh. You're going to love it. It's entertaining. And I don't know, stay tuned. Be back soon. Bye.